as they may consume.
Gentleman is recognized.
Thank you. The affordability crisis has spread to nearly every facet of American lives. Utility bills are skyrocketing across the country. Trump's disastrous tariffs are being passed on to the American consumer. Grocery prices are up, making it hard for families to put food on the table. And Republicans delivered their latest blow with failing to extend the Affordable Care Act enhanced premium tax credits, which will result in soaring monthly health care premiums for more than 20 million Americans. In many cases, Americans are seeing monthly premiums either 2, 3, or 4 times higher than they were last year for their health care insurance. And to make matters worse, we're in the midst of a housing crisis that is crushing American families' dreams. We're witnessing historically high home prices coupled with a devastating shortage of housing. The cost of buying a home feels out of reach for too many, while rent is simultaneously ballooning at an unsustainable rate. And manufactured homes, however, are an important component of our affordable housing stock. So we should all be concerned about the cost of buying a new home. But this bill does not solve this crisis. In fact, it only makes housing affordability worse. First, it revokes the Department of Energy's May 2022 energy conservation standard for manufactured housing, robbing residents of $5 billion in savings. Manufactured homes are often far less efficient than other homes, costing owners about 70% more per square foot in utility bills. Many low-income residents have reported foregoing basic necessities like food or medicine in order to keep their lights on. So to suggest that the Department of Energy standards for manufactured homes negatively impact affordability is entirely false, as I stress, entirely false. When talking about affordability, it's imperative that we all consider the cost of actually living in these homes, and energy use is a big part of that. This is even more important at a time when electricity costs are up 13% nationwide. If my Republican colleagues really want to get at the root cause of the current housing affordability crisis, they should look at Trump's disastrous tariffs on essential building materials and appliances, not at energy efficiency standards that actually lower monthly energy bills. Now, this bill also strips the Department of Energy of its congressionally directed authority to set efficiency standards for manufactured homes and sends the responsibility to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, an agency with a history of failing to protect manufactured housing residents from high energy costs. Prior to the passage of a bipartisan bill called the Energy Independence and Security Act in 2007, when George Bush was president, he signed that into law, and HUD was then responsible for setting energy efficiency standards for manufactured homes. However, the agency, HUD, failed to act, leaving residents without an updated energy code since 1994. So it's no wonder that 44% of manufactured housing residents face a high energy burden. Now, the Department of Energy in May 2022 set a standard that was long overdue that said that manufactured housing residents had gone without a modern standard for nearly 30 years before the Department of Energy issued a final rule, and they did so, and as a result, the standard that exists now, which this bill would repeal, essentially saves about $475 a year in savings on utility bills. But this bill repeals those savings. It repeals the DOE standards. And that's what's unacceptable about this bill. We should be fighting to raise the standard of living of manufactured housing residents, not lowering it with higher costs. And that's why I strongly oppose the bill. The affordability crisis is quite literally hitting home for millions of Americans, and H.R. 5184 would only saddle residents with even higher utility bills at a time when they can least afford it. So I urge my colleagues to vote no on the bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman from New Jersey reserves. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized.